All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals, Game 3, Pacers versus Oklahoma City. The first game in Indiana since 2000. Yes, the year 2000. It is now 2025. It has been 25 years since Indiana has hosted an NBA Finals game, and they won this game 116 to the Oklahoma City's 107. We're going to talk about how the Pacers were able to get this job done, what it means going forward, preview game four a little bit because game four is going to be such a pivotal game for both these teams. And yeah, so if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you like the vibes, consider subscribing. Let's jump right into it here. Let's jump right into it. This was a very interesting game because at the beginning of this game and throughout the course of this game, I thought Oklahoma had this one. I really did. I thought Oklahoma had this. They were doing everything that they were doing through the course of the first two games. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but they were. I don't want to say they were trying harder, but Oklahoma loose balls, steals, all that stuff, and it came with an element of luck as well, in the sense of literally, if a ball were to be poked out of somebody's hands or be a long rebound, the Pacers would just be a second late. They would just barely be able to get their hands on it, and it would already be in Oklahoma's hands. The tiniest little things like that were killing the Pacers throughout the course of this game, the early part of this game, and throughout the course of the last two games. Even though the Pacers now lead the series 2-1, but I am still very hesitant to say the Pacers won this game. It's more like Oklahoma lost this game. If you catch my meaning, Oklahoma gave this game up, and in fashion, as the Pacers have done throughout the whole playoffs, they need to play 48 minutes. They need to play 48 minutes to win games, and they have played 48 minutes to win games. There's no letdown. There's no stoppage. There's no nothing. They keep going 100%, 110%. The starting lineup didn't even play that well for the Pacers. It was the bench that played well. It was guys like T.J. McConnell. It was guys like Benedict Mathen, who we'll get into in a little bit. I do want to touch on the Oklahoma City Thunder and what they did not do, since we talked about what they did do with getting the loose balls, getting the long rebounds, and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to say I'm disappointed as Oklahoma team because I do want the Pacers to win this series, but at times they look very lost. They looked very not even overwhelmed, just like just flat. Like whenever whenever what they've been doing the whole season doesn't work, they just kind of look like, oh my god, it isn't working. Why isn't it working? You know, they look sort of like shell shocked in a sense. Um, they didn't have a bad game. The starting lineup was very good. Um, Chet Holmgren, we'll talk about in a little bit, 20 points. Jalen Williams, 26 points. Chet Holmgren also had 10 rebounds. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 24 points. The Pacers did an amazing job trying to stop Shai. It's some of the best defense I've seen on Shai in this whole season. Losing Dort 12, Kason Wallace 7. Kason Wallace needs to get out of the starting lineup. He needs to get out. He hasn't done anything since he's been inserted. Just start the two bigs again, you know, or bring in Alex Caruso. I know Alex Caruso is a big peach off the bench, but you got to get something else going here because Kason Wallace isn't the answer. Um, I want to talk about Chet Holmgren because throughout the course of this series, and I had it pulled up because I literally only remembered that he had made 1 3 in this whole series over the course of 3 games. Um, he's taken, what is this, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's taken 10 threes essentially. Yeah, he's taken 10 threes. Um, he's only made one, the course over 3 games. Um, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And it's not even talking about this game. It's just about his intensity and his willingness out there to not be scared of the moments and not do stupid things. Chet needs to be better. He genuinely needs to be better. There are times where he looks amazing. You're like, oh my god, how can they stop this guy? Nobody can match up with him. And then I've noticed over the course of a game, the game starts to wane on him. I know he can start to feel the pressure of some of these moments, and I can't recall even a moment during the regular season where Chet showed that he's that guy. And I know he missed a good portion of this season with that foot injury, I believe it was, or that ankle injury, whatever it was. Um, I, Chet is such a front runner in the sense of when they're up, and he's playing well. Right when they're down, he gives you he gives you bad to okay games. I'm not saying 20 points is bad in this game. I'm just saying 20 points in the NBA Finals. I hate to say it, isn't enough. It just isn't. You're supposed to be the third guy in this big quote unquote big three. You know, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. They're the young guys. They're supposed to be the big three. They're supposed to put up a majority of the scoring. 20 points is cool, right? 20 points is cool. 6 of 15 from field goal, making no threes. You almost made all his free throws. 10 rebounds is nice. I like the 10 rebounds. But the 20 points, it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for Oklahoma. And if nobody else is going to give you 20, it's like if Chet gives you 20, great. If Jalen Williams gives you almost 30, he was the leading scorer on this team, 26 points, great. If Shea is having a bad night and he only has 20, which is a low scoring game for him, fine. I need somebody else to step up. Off the bench, Kason Wallace needs to play better. And if those things aren't happening, it falls on Chet. Because Jalen had a pretty decent game. Chet had an okay game. I don't want to sound too negative. 20 points is cool, right? 20 points in the NBA Finals when you could go up 2-1 and still win in Indiana obviously wasn't enough because they lost the game. And I just want to see more because there are moments where he's flying around the court. He's making these plays. He's trying to get to the rim, and I've seen him get knocked on his ass so many times in these playoffs. And I praised him for it. He gets right back up. He's like, well, I got kicked on my ass, you know. And he's a skinny little guy, you know. He probably weighs as much as me, and he's almost 7 foot, but he falls, he gets right back up, and he shoots the free throws, or he goes back on defense, you know. And I very rarely see him complain. This game, there was some complaining. I think he was complaining on an out of bounds play, and he wanted the team to review it, and they didn't want to review it. But Chetney's, I hate to be that guy because it happens on all the morning shows, and it's gonna happen um, tonight, or it's happening this morning where he needs to step up. This guy needs to step up. I hate that stuff. I don't want to be that guy, but Chet does need to play better. If you're the third option and your main guy only has 20, which is a low scoring night, you need to do a little more. You need to do just a little more, you know? And I don't want to, I will not double down. I will not mince words when I say if he has 30 and and Shea has 20 next game, I'll say the same thing about Shea. I was like, you're the MVP. You need to do better. You know, it works both ways. Um, but in this case, I think it was a categorical disaster because the way the Pacers were defending Shea. Um, I was very concerned about it in the first half because they were blitzing him. They were trying to double him. They were trying to get the ball out of his hands as much as possible, and it worked. He was 9 for 20, 1 for 3. He was 9 of 20 from field goal, 1 of 3 from three. Only took 6 free throws. It's huge. Jalen Williams had more free throws than him. Um, they really the Pacers really minimized what he wanted to do. Um, and I was concerned about in the first half because he was swinging the ball. They were getting it out of his hands quick, but he was making the good play. He was making the right play. And towards the end of the game, as it gets to these moments and as it gets down to it, the pressure starts mounting on you as the MVP. It starts mounting on your team, and you're like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I can do it. And Shea started putting up bad shots. He started doing some things that he normally doesn't do, and it looked really bad towards the end. And you were like, oh, is this guy really the MVP? You know, tongue-in-cheek joke there, but he is the MVP. But I think in those moments, this is what people were talking about when they talk about how young this team is are they ready for those moments? The Pacers have fought for everything they've gotten at this point, in tooth and nail. Um, Going back to last year when they lost in the conference finals. Um, Not to say this Oklahoma City team hasn't fought for anything, but you've been you've never been underrated. You've never been um what's the word? You've always been picked to win the series, like you've never been counted out against. And I think that sort of gets to your head. I know, and I said in another video, these Pacers or these Oklahoma City Thunder players and coaches, they always like to say, oh, we don't care about that. It does get to you at a certain point, and I'm not saying it's gotten to them, but I think the youthfulness and the unknowing of how to carry yourself in these moments, because you can get to these moments and you can say, oh, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. When you're in it, you got to show that you're ready. The Pacers have always shown that they're ready. As bad as Tyrese Halliburton is sometimes in some games where he just doesn't show up and they lose the game, um, which is something which was talked about um, around Tyrese was um, people around him, people in his camp showing him numbers. When you have 20 points, when you have 11 assists, you the team wins. The team has a good win percentage. When you don't do those things, the team loses. And I think it's gotten into Tyrese's head that he needs to do those things. But on the Oklahoma City side, wrapping it up here for them, I don't know how they can win Game 4 if Shea or I shouldn't even say Game 4. I don't know how they win this series if Shea has this same game going forward. Like if he has maybe one or two 20-point games going forward, and this is the same stat sheet I'm looking at right now, say game 5, game 6, the Pacers might win this series, man, and that would be a shock to everybody. The numbers on them, the betting numbers on them to win the series is crazy. But I think Oklahoma is in a pickle. And I watched Shea's post game interview, and he said, I really don't know what they were doing. I would have to watch the tape and everything like that. And they're going to come back and obviously try to counter what they did with the blitzing, um, with the hard doubles, um, and you really can't. Shea really can't do anything if they're doubling. He can try to make the hard shots, and he's really good at making hard shots, and the refs could call more fouls for him. But if neither of those things happen for Shea, his team is going to have to step up. And this team has been highly touted with their depth. Um, Aaron Wiggins, um, Jalen Williams off the bench. That's Jylin Williams, not Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams. Off the bench. Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso. This team has been touted. How do you say it? Highly touted throughout the season with their depth. But as the series has started to grind along, as the playoffs have started to grind along, you'll get a game from a Aaron Wiggins every now and then. You'll get a game from an Isaiah Joe. You'll get a 20-point game from Alex Caruso. But as the series has grinded on, I think um, it's become a lot more uh, visible that this team, starting lineup to bench, plays great defense. The offense, questionable at times, and the Pacers are gonna make you pay for that if you can't. It works both ways for these teams because they both when they're chugging along, when their offense is going, when they score like 120 plus points, they're chugging, right? The Pacers are gonna have to catch Oklahoma when they're scoring, but Oklahoma City Thunder are gonna have to catch the Pacers because the Oklahoma City Thunder had this game at certain points, and then the Pacers started doing their thing. They started hitting those shots. They started doing their things, and now we'll talk about the Pacers here. Um, the two really big stories for this game and for this Pacers team was Benedict Mathurin, 27 points off the bench, and TJ McConnell, only 10 points, but he had 5 assists and he had 5 steals. and some of those steals were crazy. He was taking it out of people's hands. He was picking off lazy passes. It was incredible to watch. Um, TJ is one of my favorite players. Just one of those gritty guys, plays the game the right way. If you know, you know. Um, and TJ was such a big contributor ending that first half because he got some momentum. He got the guys going, and he said in the post game interview, he was talking to the NBA correspondent, Dyson Daniels. Um, he said that he thought the team was sort of flat. He thought they didn't have enough energy, and he wanted to bring that energy this game, and he brought that energy in spades. Talking about energy, talking about scoring, Benedict Mathurin with 27, 2 of 3 from 3, 9 of 12. Um, Benedict Mathurin has supreme confidence, and I've always been sort of not not fully bought into the thought of Benedict Mathurin because he seems like he's destined to be a six man throughout his career because he has these droughts where he doesn't score. He has these huge nights where he does score and he scores 27 in the NBA Finals, leading scorer for the team off the bench for the Pacers, um, leading scorer for the whole team for the whole game, 27 points off the bench. Um, but I mark my words, man. Either he's gonna do the same thing he did tonight on Friday, or he's gonna have a stinker on Friday. That's just how Benedict Mathurin goes. Um, the consistency is the biggest thing about Benedict Mathurin, and again, his confidence is supreme. And they were talking about it on the broadcast, and he's like he could be the best player on the team, on a team, just any team. Given those time and given those reps in the starting lineup, and given the opportunity, I don't believe that necessarily. But when Benedict Mathurin does this for this Pacers team in particular, it's absolutely incredible. Now to talk about the Pacers starting lineup, they played just okay. They played okay enough to get by. I'm gonna hold Pascal Siakam to the same standard that I hold Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Pascal Siakam, 21 points. It was good enough tonight. I don't know if it'll be good enough on Friday or going forward. 21's okay though. 2 steals, 1 block, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. Decent. Did not make a three. 8 for 14. He's coming off some rough games where when Oklahoma City decided they wanted to stop him, they would just stop him. They'd be like, "Yeah, nah, you're not going off tonight," and they would just stop him. They did something similar tonight. Obviously, the effect wasn't as great because the Pacers were at home, and role players always play better at home. Not saying Pascal is a role player, but Pascal's 20-point game was negated by the Benedict Mathurin 27-point game. Now, if Benedict Mathurin doesn't have 27 points, the Pacers might lose this game. And then we'd be looking at Pascal Siakam saying, "You need to step up," which I hate to say, but it's true. Um, Aaron Nesmith, 7 points. Miles Turner, 9 points. Miles Turner's been so weird for me. I've always liked Miles Turner, like just as passing by, like, oh yeah, Miles Turner, nice player, we better on a different team. Um, Same boat as Chet Holmgren, has not made a lot of threes this series when he's known as more of a stretch big. Um, let's see, he's taken four, that's 19. He's taken 19 threes, I believe. He's made, what is this? One, two, he's made four. Took 19 threes, made four of them. Um, Not ideal. Um, when he's hitting those threes, let me see if I can find a game here where he is hit. Oh yes, against Cleveland. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Here we go. First game against Milwaukee, he was 4-6 from three. They won that game. Um, Against Cleveland here, he was 4-4 from three. Um, they won that game um, by a comfortable margin. When they when he makes these threes, it looks like they win by a more comfortable margin. I think going into Friday's game again, and then we'll wrap this into what everybody needs to do for Game 4, a pivotal game. Miles Turner needs to start hitting them threes. Because when he starts hitting them threes, I don't know what Oklahoma's going to do. Because then that takes Chet Holmgren out of the paint, where he's the best one of the best defenders. That takes Isaiah Hartenstein out of the paint. That gets him away from the boards. That lets you have more of those opportunities to get those long rebounds, get those short rebounds. and all that stuff that I was talking about earlier in the video. Um, Miles Turner needs to hit these threes. He needs at least to put. Doesn't have to be. I would prefer it to be Friday. It doesn't have to be Friday. I would prefer for it to be Friday, and he needs to start hitting these threes. When he starts hitting these threes, it's gonna change the spacing, not just on the offensive end, which is very obvious. Anybody could say that. Oh, Miles Turner hits more threes is going to change the spacing on offense. It's going to change it on the, the Oklahoma City defense because they're going to have to start going out on him. They're going to have to really start pulling away from the basket. And Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, great defenders, right? Great perimeter defenders, pretty good post defenders too. But when the floor is stretched like that and you lose your defender because he's out at the 3 point line, it's gonna make it harder for Lu Zhang and Alex here and Shea, who is a good rebounder as well. Um, you're gonna have to count on those guys a lot more. And then going up for a rebound, going down for a rebound, running the floor starts to take a lot more energy out of you. And coming down the stretches of games where you need that energy, you might be a little more exhausted. That's my big brain take for the day is Miles Turner needs to hit more threes in game 4. Andrew Nemhard, 8 points. Tyrese Halliburton, pretty decent game. Was on triple-double watch, 22 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. 4 turnovers, not the best. He had 2 steals and 1 block. Very good defensively. Um, 9 of 17, 4 of 8. These are the games you expect from Tyrese Halliburton. Just okay games. Um, I would hope he would have a. He needs. Let me say this. He needs a hell of a game. He needs a banger of a game on Friday. Because if he can have a banger of a game, and if Miles Turner can hit these threes, and Benedict Mathurin and Pascal Siakam can pitch in the same way they pitched in this game, woo, Pacers might win this, man. They might be up 3-1 going back to Oklahoma. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I did want to read a stat for you guys that I saw. Um, yes, so I saw this and I thought it was interesting because I think of Shea as a pretty decent defender too, but Shea has this is an advanced stat, has a 70% blow by percentage in the NBA Finals, um, which is crazy. But then you start comparing it to other guys, and you're like, wait a second, Luka Doncic, when he was in the finals last year, he had a 67% blow by percentage. Something to monitor, something to watch. Shea does have to take on the scoring load, and for me, it's understandable for as somebody who's watched this game to be like, well, he does need to score. When he doesn't score 30, they lose the game by 9, 10, 12, whatever the case may be. He's not going to be that guy on defense. I'm coming down the stretch here. It's something to monitor. I'm just saying it's something to watch because he might be able to pick it up for the next 3 games in a row and they win the next 3 games or they just need 2 more. Oh no, they need 3. The Pacers need 2. The next 3 games, he might just turn into the defensive monster and offensive monster and just say, whatever, we need to win this. I'll do it. Or he might just say, I need to score, I need to score, I need to score, and forget about defense. It's just something to monitor, something to watch. Um, yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, we can look at these team stats. I used to look at these team stats all the time. Now I don't really look at them because I've been watching the game. When I did this early in the season, some of the games I didn't watch because they were on at the same time, so I'd had to look at the team stats and be like, oh yeah, I have to make my assumptions from that. Um, Anything popping out right here? The ball wasn't snapping for Oklahoma. They only had 16 assists. Pacers at 24, something to watch as well. Um, the Pacers had him beat in every category defensively, every stat, steals, blocks, by a good margin. Um, the Oklahoma City Thunder conceded 21 points off turnovers. Mm-mm-mm. Shout out TJ McConnell for that. That's a TJ McConnell stat right there. And points in the paint were pretty similar. Pretty similar. The largest lead for both teams was 9. So nobody ever got above 10. And um, the final lead for the game was 9 for the Pacers to win it. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I think that's all I have to say, man. And then, I guess I won't. The game's on Friday. Next game's on Friday, so I won't. We won't have a video this weekend. If I can pull up just the schedule here. Um, let me see here. Yes. Okay. So no games this week. Okay. So yeah, we'll talk about Friday's game on Monday, and then we'll preview Monday a little bit. And we'll see, can Oklahoma City tie it up? Can the Pacers take a 3-1 lead heading back to Oklahoma? Possibly beat one of the best teams by every metric recently? We'll see. We'll see next time. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.